nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud. Nip it. Nip it.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the program tonight. It is going to be fantastic. Broadcasting, as you know, from the Palatial Studios, 13 feet. And you know how it goes. We are towering 13 feet high above South Mercer Street, broadcasting live from the 16125, Greenville, Pennsylvania. Hope you guys are having a great day. We are locked and loaded and ready to roll tonight. Would like to send a big hello to all the Integrity Television viewers tonight. We are rolling with Integrity Television. May God bless you. Hope you guys enjoy this and make it a part of your viewing schedule. You know, I'm thinking Young and the Restless, Greg Terry Experience, Andy Griffith Show. You maybe leave the Young and the Restless out. Okay, we'll just stick with Greg Terry and Barney Fife. And by the way, Barney is here.
You haven't been talking to the law. Don't you get smart-nosed with me.
The law is here with us tonight in more way than one. We do towards, well, in a little while, we're going to be having a wonderful conversation with a retired North Carolina state trooper, and we're going to have a great time. Of course, even when he is on here a little bit later, I'm going to be asking some questions. We're going to be having a chat about what's going on in America and around the world. But maybe you'll have a question for him, and if you do, for sure, I will be glad to pop that up for you. I want to send a big hello out to everyone. I've got actually more screens in front of me now. Bob Vanderslice, look at the picture there. We are popping Bob Vanderslice up. Pam Bowman, God bless you tonight, checking in from the great state of North Carolina. I don't know how I've got all this memorized, but I do. Jennifer Scruggs Hackett checking in. Elaine DeWolf, we see you there. Elaine, I'm actually looking through the camera, and I see you. Lyle and Susan Anderson checking in from the beautiful OBX. And, of course, you would have to know what OBX stands for. It's called the Outer Banks, beautiful North Carolina. Jennifer Grover, God bless you. Buddy Wilson, the same back at you, my friend. We are excited about what's going to happen. How about a big shout out to Melanie Weisberg. Rick Berry, I see you there. Tried to find it on Roku. All right, we'll help you out there, Rick Berry, with the big good evenings. Fred Callahan, welcome to the program tonight. It is going to be ready to roll and right up your alley. Ray Suhaliga, Fred Callahan, of course, you're going to hear it. Randy Hill watching from, I assume, beautiful Dunn, North Carolina. Folks, it is going to be an awesome night. We're pumped up. As you can see, we rolled in 3 minutes early with the countdown. That is because PG is over here sweating tonight because at 8:30, I had to be spot on time for Integrity Television, and I am praying with everything that is within me. I have held up my end of the bargain and hit them right on the clock. But man, I think I'm seriously going to need some production assistance going forward because I've only got two hands and only actually a hand and a half. So we'll see what happens. Ted Morris, welcome to you. Mary Fireball, I see you checking in there from Roanoke, Virginia. Finished our ice cream, ready for a big night with PG and Barney. Marion Leonard, welcome to you. Folks, all those that are on YouTube, John and Lynn, checking in from Richmond, Virginia. Chester, I see you there. You guys get ready to roll. Hello to you all. Hello to Integrity Television. It's time to get going.
Let's see, I'm not too hungry this morning. I'll just have orange juice, bowl of cereal, stack of wheats, 3 eggs over. Make sure they ain't running out.
Right.
Bacon on the crisp side, white toast buttered, hashed brown potatoes, and coffee. Coffee.
Does my heart good to see a thin person eat.
Well, folks, those of you that have been a part of the program for a long time and our new family at Integrity Television, I have started a healthy move for this summer. I've put a challenge out to those that are part of our viewing community. Also, let's try to get a little healthy this summer because last year COVID found us, didn't it? But I started it last Friday. And as I told you, every Friday, I'll be reporting in on how the weight is moving. Are we scaling it down or not, folks? Last week, weighed in at 221.4. And tonight, weighing in at 219.8. That is down 1.6 pounds. I hope you are being healthy and doing something great as well. You know, the beverages of the night are still rolling, just trying to make them a little bit healthier. Here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to witness is not only exciting and educational, but sometimes a bit risky as well. Do not try this at home. It's time for the beverage of the night.
Well, folks, the beverage of the night. Actually, my wife is watching me trying to accomplish this. You guys are sending in healthy drinks, so thank you for that. But you've got to move hers to the front. Drink from your wife loves, what is it? Propel. No Coke, no Pepsi, no Dr. Pepper, no vanilla Dr. Pepper, zero sugar, extra electrolytes. Folks, at least it's grape. So, a little bit of grape Propel going down tonight. I haven't drinking a Propel since Brian Heckman gave me one 3 years ago. Okay. Anyone else wanting to send me in Propel, please feel free to. Integrity Television checking in that I'm 10 seconds early. Hey, at least I wasn't 10 seconds late. Look at here, checking in tonight from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the program, everybody. It is going to be awesome, I promise you. Buckle your seatbelts. Folks, Barney is locked and loaded. He's right here beside me, and we are ready to roll with what is going on. Woo! Can you believe that in Washington, D.C. right now, there is chaos? Can you believe right now in Washington, D.C., there is chaos? Rainwater games. Come on, man. You are buckled and ready to go. Rainwater, what state are you checking in from? I think you're out in the Midwest somewhere. Let me know where you're from there, Rainwater. Folks, there is quite a bit of chaos going on Capitol Hill right now. Can you believe that Nancy Pelosi is fighting with her own party and her own party is fighting with Nancy Pelosi? Oh, you're from the state of Washington. Oh, that's way out there. Welcome tonight, Rainwater Game. So, unfortunately, Representative Ilhan Omar made some statements in the last couple of days that the United States is equal to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Israel in terroristic activity. My friends, this is absolutely unacceptable. What a slap in the face to the American people. It was so bad that Nancy Pelosi has asked her to write a written statement explaining they are imploding from the inside out. Now, after Nancy Pelosi dropped that, AOC, the brilliant one, God bless her, she needs Jesus, rips into Nancy Pelosi and everybody else, saying that no, Ilhan Omar, her comments were taken out of context. How do you take out of context that America, Israel, Hamas, and Hezbollah are all doing terroristic activity in the Middle East? You don't take that out of context. That is what the lady said. Not only should she be censured, and if you look, Representative Dan Crenshaw, he is the representative from the Houston area in Texas who is an Afghanistan U.S. Lieutenant Commander, Navy SEAL veteran who was wounded in Afghanistan by an IED, lost his eye for our country and for your freedom, and even Ms. Omar's and AOC's freedom, and then the slap in the face to say these things. I couldn't imagine that if I was a representative member and this lady stood up and began to say those things, I believe I would absolutely unload on her. Well, Dan Crenshaw, he unloaded, and he has asked that she be stripped of all committee assignments. Let's take it a step further than that. Basically, she needs to be gone. This is unacceptable. This is still America. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. There are some interesting things that are going on over in Israel right now. Potentially tomorrow or Sunday, there will be a finalization of the change of prime minister. Benjamin Netanyahu is on the way out, and there is a coalition of parties that are coming in, and two gentlemen are going to share the role of prime minister. One's last name is Bennett, and one is Lapid. These gentlemen will be sharing the role. They formed a coalition to get rid of Netanyahu. Netanyahu has said there will be a peaceful transition of power. It has not officially happened yet, but it is in the process. And I was doing some research and reading information over there in Israel this afternoon, prepping. Israel is already ready for this. This is going to happen unless something crazy happens over the next 24 or 36 hours. We're going to have some new prime ministers there in Israel. The problem is potentially that these guys are much more centristic, even though they say they are not, than Benjamin Netanyahu. Going to be interesting what unfolds with Israel. Going to be interesting to watch how our relationship with Israel goes forward from here. Now, today in the Jerusalem Post, something very interesting was written, and it was called the 10 Commandments for the new prime ministers, for their leadership. Folks, these are the requests that are presented to the new prime ministers and the new government in Israel. Number one, thou shalt squeeze Iran harder. People are concerned in Israel that the stance will be adjusted in regard to Israel. Thou shalt squeeze Iran harder. Number two, thou shalt expand the Abrahamic circle of peace. Of course, this is the Abrahamic agreements and the accords that was pushed by Donald Trump, his administration, where they jumped on, had other nations come into peace with Israel, really a fulfillment of what is happening in Ezekiel 38. We'll probably be reviewing that some more in the future as nations come into peace with Israel, and then we will be dealing with nations that will invade from the north. We'll be watching that as we always do. But the people of Israel are asking an expansion of the Abrahamic circle of peace. Number 3, thou shalt prepare for war the right way. When you go in and read what they are asking for the still iron fist in hand to defend the people of Israel. Number 4, thou shalt brook no terror. You shall not put up with any terror. If terror comes against the nation of Israel, you are to squash it immediately. This is what Israeli people are requesting. Number 5, rule emphatically in Area C. Area C is the West Bank, where there is continual conflict. Number 6, thou shalt retake control of the Temple Mount. Very interesting, because this is the place where, of course, the temple is, but also the Dome of the Rock, where all the way back to about 600 AD, the Nation of Islam and Muslims have marked it as the third most holiest site in all of Islam. For Judaism, it's the most sacred site. That is the battle there right in Jerusalem. The people are saying, take control of the Temple Mount. Number 7, thou shalt build in and around Jerusalem. Expand the Israeli infrastructure in and around Jerusalem. Number 8, thou shalt no longer neglect Israel's Arab and Haredi minorities. Taking care of the minorities. There's also the Bedouins that are out in the desert. They want them to look after the Bedouins, and the Bedouins are an Arab nomadic tribe. Number 9, thou shalt invest in long-term projects. And number 10, thou shalt be inclusive, not divisive. That one's a little interesting. We'll see how that unfolds. God bless you, Pastor Kathy C. Checking in for Virginia. Friday fun night from Fredonia, Karen Beatty. God bless you. Barbara Rolfe checking in. Good evening from sunny Florida. And yeah, chaos in D.C.? Seriously? Nah, there's no chaos in D.C. Oh my. How about a little bit of the Texas border? We've had some more interesting things happen. Very interesting, actually, where Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and he has a really good first name, by the way. He has declared that if the federal government is not going to build the wall, the state of Texas is going to build a wall to secure the border. Republican National Committee Chief McDaniel is blasting Biden's open borders agenda. Here are the facts, folks. These are facts. In the month of May, we had, are you ready for this? 180,000 border crossings that were illegal. That's not my numbers. That is the border control numbers that were reported for the month of May. 180,000 illegal entries across the border. But according to Speaker of the House, Kamala Harris, for those of you on Integrity Television, I have promoted Jen Psaki to vice president because it seems she speaks much more often and makes policy. And I really didn't even know where Vice President Harris was, hiding from the border and hiding from the truth. But we did discover her taking a little trip to Guatemala and being rude and laughing to more people. I want to share something with you. Check this out.
That's been, in the news for the last 24 hours or so. Can you commit right now that you will indeed visit the U.S.-Mexico border, and will you do it soon?
Jeremy, let me tell you something. Yes, I will, and I have before. Listen, anybody, especially if you're from California, I've spent a lot of time on the border, and both going there physically and aware of the issues. But the reality of it is that we need to prioritize what's happening at the border, and we have to prioritize why people are going to the border. I've been to the border before. I will go again. But when I'm in Guatemala, dealing with root causes. I think we should have a conversation about what's going on in Guatemala. Okay.
I have determined, and God bless her, Washington needs Jesus. President Biden needs Jesus. And I know she's the Vice President, Harris, needs Jesus. Ilhar, Oman, AOC, Pelosi, listen, we still love God and we believe that people need the light. You want a revival? Let's get some of these crazy people saved. But this lady is absolutely incompetent. 100% incompetent. And people who stand for the truth, people who stand on the word of God, have to honorably tell the truth. The truth is they all need Jesus, but the truth also is on a political world, on an educational world, on an ability to interact with nations around the world, she is absolutely incompetent. In dealing with the media, she is absolutely incompetent. Do you know why she laughs? It's because she doesn't know what to say. Well, are you going to go to the border? Well, I've been to the border. I've been to California. Lady, you're from Vice President Harris, you're from California. I have lived in California. I have many times been to the border in California. When you take your nice ride in your Maserati from San Diego down to Tijuana so you can go across and buy cheap bags and come back across at one of the most secure borders in America in Tijuana. I know they have drug running tunnels from there to San Diego, but it's one of the most secure there at Tijuana. You don't have a clue what the border looks like. You've not been to Texas. You've not been to El Paso. We're right across the river. People are dying right within binocular range. You have no clue what's going on as coyotes and drug runners are illegally trafficking children, sick, destitute, and dropping them off illegally in America so that they can get rich and traffic drugs. You have no clue. And if you say, well, we've got to go to the root of the problem and solve the root of the problem, and that will solve everything, let me tell you what the root of the problem is. It's what McDaniel says here. We have an open border. If we had a closed border, you would not even attempt to go to that border. Let me tell you what a border is like. I can remember way back in the day, traveling from Ukraine to Moldova, way back in the day. When you approach the border, fear grips you. And I'm an American and I have a passport and I have legal right as an American citizen to travel to Ukraine, to travel to Moldova. I speak the Russian language, no problem. I'm very happy. But when you come to that border and the army is there and guys are standing there with AK-47s on both sides and you've got to present your documents and you've got to have your van inspected and then you cross into the other nation of sovereign territory and they do it all over again, that is called a border. Borders should invoke fear and respect, in my opinion. It doesn't mean we don't care about people. I told you on Tuesday night, my daughter is heading to Mexico. She's heading to Peru. We love all nations of the world, but when it comes to crossing the border into America, there is a legal process. And if you think going to Guatemala, sitting down, talking to El Presidente is going to solve our border crosses, you were sadly mistaken. The only thing that is going to solve our border problem is to put a proper process for coming in, for vetting people, putting a wall up, putting our military at the border, and saying, don't come across here unless you're coming the right way. Boom. Whew. Yes, Barbara Roth, I did see her Spanish television interview, and I was going to show a clip of that. But you know what happened, Barbara? That was taken off the internet, where she actually lost her cool and didn't understand or properly negotiate that interview. Man, I think I need to breathe a little bit. That propel is launching me forward. Woo! Well, how about some good stuff, though? You ready for some good stuff? There's some good things going on in America. 2020 was a very, very difficult year. Let's be honest. It was tough. But there are some things that are coming around right now. California is having to pay $2 million in legal fees over their attack closing churches. Governor Carney settling a federal case over restrictions for churches. If you do not know, he is the governor of Delaware. Minnesota settling with churches over COVID restrictions. A federal judge siding with Colorado churches in a lawsuit against 2 public health mandates. And here's a really good one. Dayton, Nevada. We have viewers regularly in here from Dayton, Nevada. Dayton is a little town right to the east of Carson City. It's all Carson City, Reno, Virginia City. Yes, that is where Bonanza was. Look at here. Nevada is in the house. I have been by this building many, many times. I've ministered in Dayton, Nevada many, many times. Calvary Chapel of Dayton Valley fought the restrictions, fought against unfairness. Let me explain to you. They filed a suit because hotels and casinos, it's Nevada, were allowed during the COVID pandemic 50% occupancy. At the same time, churches were limited to 50 people. Not based on occupancy, but 50. When others could have 50%. This church in Dayton, Nevada, fought the law, and the law didn't win. They fought the law, and Nevada lost. They are now paying Dayton Valley Calvary Chapel $175,000 due to the legal battle. They were treated unfairly. Things are turning, folks, and you need to hear me. The more chaos that happens in our country, the more disasters, and I'm not wanting disasters, but they're going to happen because there's incompetence going on in our leadership right now federally. We've got a lot of really good governors in place. When I think of somebody like DeSantis in Florida or Greg Abbott in Texas, this is some good guys making some serious strides with reality. Other states as well, doing some great things. But when our federal government continues to function with the results that they are getting, America is not going to stand for it. And I'm going to prove it to you in just one moment. Folks, are you aware of what is going on with critical race theory? Critical race theory, you've probably been hearing about it. You've probably not understood what it is. It's being taught in our public school systems. I'm going to show you a little clip to explain to you what it is, so you're educated. But in a nutshell, it's basically cancel culture being taught to our children, woke generation being taught to our children, and a rewriting of true American history being taught to our children. States now are coming out and standing against it and banning it to be taught in their public school systems. Michael Nettles in the house. Welcome to the program. God bless you, my dear friend. Critical race theory, what is it? Check this out. Well, folks, that'll give you a quick little overview. So at least you have some understanding. When you're hearing this, you're reading it, you're seeing it. What is this critical race theory? Folks, it's just trying to reprogram our country, reprogram our youth, and basically saying that racism is rooted in political ideology. It is an absolute tragedy. It is nothing but a disastrous, toxic ideology, and it is now being stood up against. Florida Board of Education passes rule banning critical race theory in classrooms. Nearly a dozen states are now jumping on, wanting to ban this from the curriculum. Currently, this is banned in Florida, Arkansas, Idaho, and Oklahoma. Debate in state houses now underway. Michigan, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Ohio, South Dakota, Arizona, Kentucky, Utah, and New Hampshire. And now initial consideration and talks are underway in Iowa, Louisiana, Maine, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, and West Virginia. I'm telling you, my friends, you guys hang on, because the more chaos that ensues, the more people are going to realize that, hey, the truth is not found in a political ideology. The truth is not found in somebody giving a good speech, but the truth must be found in the real truth, which is Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. Rick Barry, no way do I want a nice parsley, basil, and spinach smoothie with carrot, celery, and a hint of cinnamon. I don't want it, but if you make it, I'll drink it. I really will. So I guess the offer's good, and I'm waiting on it. Folks, I am so excited. June 16th is coming. We've been watching for June 16th. What is June 16th? Oh, that's when President Biden will be meeting with President Putin. What's today? I don't know what today. I can't say what the day is. It's a great day. 16th. Gonna be interesting. So now, of course, mainstream media is trying to pump it up, make it look good. So Time magazine came out with an article, a cover, showing President Biden with his cool FBI sunglasses on, with President Putin reflecting in them. I'm sorry, but advertising is not going to help you. Having little pictures on the front of Time magazine is not going to help you. Потому что когда el presidente Vladimir Putinov будет говорить с тобой, ты будешь иметь очень большой problem. What I said right there was the media is not going to help you, because when you start meeting with President Vladimir Putin, he is going to teach you a thing or two. Somebody put on social media, the time should have been his picture there, and instead of Putin in his glasses, there's President Biden falling up the steps. Now, I can't go hard on President Biden for falling up the steps. I have also done that, as I know you have as well at some point. Finally, folks, we're getting ready to have some great conversation with our guest tonight. But I just want you to know that I no longer have any respect at all for the Pulitzer Prize. Reuters, New York Times win Pulitzer Prizes for their coverage of racial injustice. And it goes on to read that they won their awards for exposing the truth of police brutality. What a disaster. What a perfect time tonight to have our guest, Alan Locklear, on here. They won Pulitzer Prizes for trashing our police. Let me just say it the way it is. They wrote trashy articles about our wonderful men and women in blue who serve us every day. Just because we have a bad apple or two here, everywhere has bad apples or two. But the overwhelming, huge 99.9% majority of our men and women in blue are wonderful people of God and ministers of God. And these organizations come out and write trash, just decimating our police force, and they win Pulitzer Prizes. America is not going to stand for this much longer. It's already happening. They're not going to stand for it much longer. What a joke. What an absolute joke. You know what? I'm canceling the Pulitzer Prize. The Pulitzer Prize is now canceled. Oh my. Folks, that's a look at what's going on. We're getting ready to have a great conversation with a special guest, and I'm looking forward to chatting with him. But I've been telling you guys tonight, through looking at the different things, that it's not over yet. Americans are starting to wake up and smell the coffee. My dear friends, do not give up on your country yet. Do not give up on your God yet. Do not give up on the truth and the promises that are found therein, because the best is yet to come. Sometimes it takes a storm to take us to a place of victory. Psalm 23 states very, very clearly, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you're with me. I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and I'm coming out on the other side. America is going through a valley of the shadow of death, but we're coming out bigger and better. I believe that with everything that is in me, and I'm going to prove it to you tonight. Are you ready? Alan, get ready. Coming to you in about a minute and a half. Guys, I'm going to prove it. Hockey game. New York City. Is it the Islanders? Yeah. Islanders and the Bruins. Madison Square Garden. You know, last time I checked, New York City's pretty liberal. New York City's pretty liberal. Kind of sometimes anti-American, even though it's the Big Apple. 20,000 people came together for a hockey game, and America broke out. It was across political lines. In a crowd of 20,000 people, I guarantee you, there were ultra-conservatives, there were conservatives, there were moderates, there were libertarians, there were Democrats, there were socialists, there were progressives, there were nut jobs. But I want you to see what happened in New York City. And don't you lose faith. The best is yet to come for America. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting tonight's colors is the New York State University Police. And now, please join Nicole Raviv as we sing together our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed? Banner yet
My friends, I guarantee you that was not 20,000 ultra conservatives. That was 20,000 Americans in New York City with multiple backgrounds, multiple colors, different races, different ideologies. But I'm telling you, America is coming back. Folks, I am so excited. I hope that inspired you tonight. Yeah, the goosebumps are rolling. I've got a great guest tonight. And folks, I am so happy to roll in here tonight. Retired North Carolina State Trooper Alan Locklear. I was talking to Alan earlier that I wanted to bring him into the program because we've got enough mess in the media talking about our men, women in blue, such an attack upon American idealism and the truth of what's going on. So I started thinking, I need to get a officer in here, and instantly I thought of Alan Locklear. Alan, welcome to the program tonight, my friend.
Well, Greg, it's an honor to be with y'all guys tonight, and thanks for having me, and thanks for the invitation, brother.
You're very welcome. Now, folks, those of you that are watching in different parts of the country, I know we've got everywhere in here, Washington State, California, Texas, down south, up north. We'll have foreign countries later. We've got Integrity Television with people watching all over the world. You're going to have to listen really hard because he's got a North Carolina accent, and it's really, really good. And his retirement from the state troopers, he's doing a lot of hunting and fishing. So we'll try to get that accent where you can understand. Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself. You were a state trooper in North Carolina. You also pastored a church, and you're now doing things in human trafficking. We'll deal with that in just a moment. But how many years were you a state trooper?
I served 21 years with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol. Previously to that, I was a deputy sheriff in North Carolina for about 9 years, and I retired in 2019 with 30 years of service.
Well, first of all, everybody in this program wants to thank you for your service. I know you personally, and you are an honorable man and an honorable man of God. So from our viewing audience, you being a representative of men and women in law enforcement, whether active or retired, you guys hit that like button and hit that heart button. We honor you tonight, and we thank you for your service. Couple of questions for you. Maybe people would have this kind of, it's my questions, but hey, and if you guys have a question you'd like to ask our dear friend Alan tonight, just pop it in the chat and we'll ask him. I'm going to start with this one. What was the most challenging or close call you ever had serving?
Well, Greg, I'll be honest, with 30 years of service, man, there were so many situations that I've encountered over the years. And I think a lot of times when things happen, we process them and we store them somewhere in our minds. But I recall, back in probably 1991, got involved with a shooting in Harnett around the Spring Lake area. I think that was one of the most challenging things for me. It was being shot at and couldn't find the location of the suspect where he was shooting from. And that's some of the obstacles that law enforcement today and yesterday and years past is the challenge is when you go to work, are you coming back home again? And unfortunately, the times that we live in today, it's not good. And you know that because you've been preaching some of that. And I did some statistics I pulled up last week. Officers killed so far in June, just in June. There's been several, but for the year so far, 26 by gunfire just in the United States of America. It usually ranges around like 150 just by gunfire, and that's not including assaults, traffic collisions, And COVID took a lot of officers out this past year. Last year.
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, Alan, what does it feel like? Because people need to understand this. What does it feel like to be shot at and have no idea where the bullet's coming from?
Well, man, that is a scary situation. Where you might have to go home and change your pants out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's a scary situation. But man, I'll be honest, man, God has been with me in the last 30 years of my job. I really believe that the Lord has had his hands on me because he knew my future. Jeremiah 29:11 tells it all. But I
Amen.
really believe that the Lord has had his hand upon me in my job. And I can tell you tonight of stories, and I know we don't have time, of angels protecting me on duty.
Well, let me tell you this. You will be back in the program on a future date telling those stories. I promise you that, because this is a message that is always in my program. I believe in honoring and understanding. And as I was talking earlier in the program, the only way we're going to change our society, of course, is through the miracle working power of the gospel. But secondly, we as people, we've got to stand up and tell the truth as the people of God.
Yes.
You got a question in the chat. I'm going to give you that one in just a second. But what was the fastest you ever clocked somebody going?
I'm thinking about 112 probably on the interstate up in Guilford County, up in Greensboro. Greensboro was my last duty station. Interstate 85 bypassed Greensboro. And you can go out there and, I'll be honest, I know we got some folks from North Carolina out here tonight. Do not be wrecking the speed limit, folks. But we didn't really start writing tickets until about 20 to 30 over on I-85 because the speeds were so high. But it was nothing to go out there and clock cars over 100. But I believe mine was 112, and it was a female.
Did she get a ticket?
Oh, yes, sir. And let me tell you something behind this story here, if I got a second here.
You got it.
I stopped her. I got her on a Sunday morning at 1:12. A trooper called me from Statesville, not even probably 25, 30 minutes later, got her going for a work mile, and she tried to elude the trooper. And I asked him on the phone when he called me because he found my speeding ticket in her vehicle. And I said, "Did you lock her up and take her to jail?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, you should have." And then about an hour later, she got a ticket in Asheville. So, us getting her stopped and slowed down and giving her speeding tickets did not help this young lady whatsoever.
Question came in from the chat, Alan. What can the general public do to help troopers, police officers, sheriffs, county cops? What would be good? What can the public do?
The most important thing is pray for our law enforcement today. But if you see one out in public, if you're out in a restaurant somewhere, don't hesitate to let them know that you support them. That means a lot. And because officers today, it's so easy, Greg, to get jaded in this job. And what helped me not get jaded and bitter was the working power of the Holy Spirit in my life. But there's a lot of officers out there that don't have salvation and they don't understand those things. So go up to one of them and let them know, hey, I know what your job is. I appreciate what you're doing and you have my support.
Amen. That kind of lines up with a question that just popped in the chat. Well, two things here. Judy Roberts saying, give them a wave at them. And question coming in from Bruce Lozier. Would you want to be a cop if you were not a Christian?
I'll be honest. I've been on both roads of that because I walked away from the Lord, when I was about 16 years old and got in law enforcement at age 21. Again, walked away from the Lord. So when I got to the job at 21, I was doing some things, Greg, I wasn't seeing at age. Law enforcement's like the military. You work hard, you play hard, and that's the
Understood.
mentality of a lot of military, a lot of law enforcement. Then I gave my life back to the Lord at age 37. God called me into the ministry very quick. Got ordained through the International Pentecostal Holiness Church, became a pastor in 2012. So from 2012 to 2021, I was pastoring a church and just walked away from the pastorate for about 4 months ago to pursue what God's called and do.
We're going to talk
So
about that in
yes,
just a
it's
moment. If I remember correctly, you had a really good evangelist, short guy, come through there. Looks like me a little bit. It was great service, wasn't it?
I don't recall that, Greg. I'll be honest
What do
with
you mean you don't recall that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, brother, you're a great guy. I mean, I love you, brother.
All right,
Had a
let's
good
move
time.
ahead now to 2021. Let's 2020, 2021. You're retired in 2019?
Yes.
Okay. You go out in 2019 and then you watch what unfolds in America since then. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I don't even know how to ask the question, to be honest, because it's been torture for law enforcement. I've been covering this since last March. I actually was able to go into the Portland, Oregon. They made it public record of 35 Portland City police officers who quit, and they had to write their exit interviews, and it was because of what was going on in the city. They said, this is not what we signed up for. We signed up for Portland, Oregon, not, Kazakhstan. So as a retired trooper, as one who gave 30 years to service, when you see what's going on in America, what do you think?
To me, it's very heartbreaking, first of all. And I can, not being out there now, I can understand how Vietnam vets probably felt when they came back home from Vietnam. Because law enforcement are getting spit on. They've been ridiculed for doing, they've been hired for, they took an oath through their city, through their county, through their state to protect and serve. And the government now is not allowing them to fulfill that oath. Even their own administration that they're working for, because they're too scared of lawsuits and those things, they're not even protecting. Full PD here in North Carolina, up in our mountain area, 85 officers have left that agency in a year's time. And right now, they're not even answering calls. The only calls they're answering is high priority calls. And so what they're doing, they're making a website. If you have a complaint of something, you can put it on the website and somebody within that office will answer that call via telephone. That is where we are going today. And good officers are leaving agencies to do other jobs. This is a calling. You don't wake up like a pastor. You don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to be a cop. I want to be a pastor. You're called to do that. It takes a special kind of individual to be in law enforcement. And I apologize for, 3, 4, 5% of officers out there not doing like they should, but the majority of law enforcement in this nation are good people.
%100 agree. You're getting stuff in the chat. It's heartbreaking to be spit on and called baby killers by the people you were sworn to protect. And that's actually from a Vietnam vet there that just posted that. So
Greg,
you're spot on.
I couldn't do it. I would not do it today. I just couldn't. I have to do my job. I've always been a man that did my job. So when I went to work, I worked day shift my last 5 years. And so that was a seniority thing. Guys, my age, you've been on a long time. They put you on day shift to work. You work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's what I did. But I still did what the state paid me to do.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I can say about the North Carolina State High Patrol, they can still go out there and do their job. The majority of law enforcement in this state can do that, unless you're out west or you're in one of these liberal counties. And most of your counties that's on the interstate system from 40 to the mountains, for some reason, they're all liberal cities and liberal counties where all the sheriffs that were just elected 3 years ago are now Democrats. They beat out long-term serving Republican sheriffs, and now we all have Democratic sheriffs within our counties, and that's unheard of.
And these guys are powerful.
Yes.
Very powerful.
The sheriff is the most powerful law enforcement in the county that they reside in, that they swear in. But I've never seen a sheriff that was in for 25, 30 years and get boosted out by somebody that we've never heard of being a Democratic sheriff.
But I'm here to tell you the same thing I was telling earlier looking at Washington, D.C. It's going to bite. It's going to bite them because Americans are going to stand up. And it's happening, and I believe it's going to happen more. Now, Alan, we got a couple minutes left, and I'm absolutely going to get you back on the program. People are loving it. We're going to do it again here in the near future. But you are now transitioning into trafficking, and I know you can only say certain things, not say certain things. We are active in that ministry here in Pennsylvania as well. But in a nutshell, what's going on now? What's the next chapter?
My wife now and I, we've been into the anti-human trafficking ministry for the last 5 years. And we're transitioning in August. We're going to Montana to live. And we're not going to be doing safe house ministries any longer. We're going to be helping families bring in girls and ladies to their house, almost like a foster care program in Montana. We already have 10 families that's interested in doing this, but there's several steps that they have to get to before we allow the girls to go live with them. We did 1 year of mentorship program with the families that are interested in the girls. And after that year, during that year, we do a background investigation, we do the training, we do the mentoring. Once they graduate that, we bring the girls into their residence. We have 10 families again, and we have one in Virginia and one in North Carolina that's also interested in doing this. These girls need to know what a family unit looks like, not be stuck in an institution somewhere or a safe house and don't get the love that they need and the nurturing. The only place you can get that's in a Christian home. And I thank the Lord for God calling people with great hearts to stand up for these girls that are survivors of human trafficking.
Well, brother, the best is yet to come. And I'm going to tell you, that's the heart of the Lord. I want to thank you very much, Alan, for being my guest tonight. People have enjoyed it, and we're going to do it again. We're going to talk more about what you're getting involved there with human trafficking. Maybe we'll get a couple more guests on here that are connected to this ministry and just have a great time. And once again, thank you. Thank you for your service. We love you, man. God bless you. My dear friends, it's been an awesome night on the Greg Terry Experience. May the Lord bless you, keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, give you peace. We're gone.